Hey everybody, this is Jordan with PictureMonk.com again, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming back week after week. I've been looking at the stats, and it's been really nice to see people listening. Not getting a whole lot of engagement, but really, what can you do for your first few podcasts? So, thanks for listening, like I said. And for this first part of the podcast, I usually roll into a few news articles, some cool things that I found online. But I'm not going to do that this time because I can only find one or two that were really, really kind of cool news articles. But I think I'm going to save those till next week. This week I kind of just wanted to do like a little discussion about kind of what's been going on at PictureMonk. And the first thing is, you probably heard in my last podcast that I said I don't have a camera. And that's been a kind of a weekly battle. What happened was my camera was giving a code, an error code on it, card not found, even when there was a card in the camera, and it just wouldn't recognize that any card was there. Tried it with multiple cards and it just wouldn't work. So I went on to Canon's website, and I did this early last week because I was wanting to send it off. Went on their website, filled out a warranty form, and the message came back that said no warranty was available for this product. So that kind of got me wondering, I'm well within the year warranty mark. So that kind of got me wondering about what was going on with that. So after a few chat sessions with Canon support, they just directed me to send it in to them, which was done on Friday. So hopefully within the next 7 days or so, I'll have my camera back, and that would be really helpful. That's really helpful in a couple ways, just because number one, I really want my camera back and I want to be able to take more photos. But two, me and my dad and my father-in-law kind of went on this year-long photography challenge. It's called Project 52. It's basically where you take one photo every week for the whole year. This has been a struggle. You got to come up with a somewhat catchy photo, somewhat entertaining photo for the week, and some weeks are better than others. But I first started this a long time ago when I did a 365 challenge, and that's more, you see more of those usually where a person takes a photo every year, or a photo every day for a year, and that was really tough. That was if you look at the photos, they're not they're not all going to be hung on a wall at a gallery or anything. You just kind of gotta have a feel for what you did that day, maybe, or maybe you did see something kind of cool that you wanted to take a photo of, and you went somewhere, that kind of thing. But this week 52 thing has been kind of fun because whereas I was doing the 365 challenge, I was doing that by myself. The week 52 challenge has been nice to see, what my dad comes up with for his photos, what my father-in-law comes up with for his photos. So it's just been kind of cool to see that. So I would like to have my camera back to actually take photos of that, even though this year's almost over, because that kind of goes into a little bit of the topic that we're talking about today. Is today me and my dad actually went to a museum. We live near High Point, North Carolina, and that's where they have a small museum there where they have people role playing old, like old Civil War time, where people get dressed up and that sort of thing. So he found that they were going to be doing like the reenactment thing, and so we drove down there, and he kept making fun of me the whole time, saying, you're going to get your GoPro out, your professional camera, because that's all I had. I had my GoPro and my phone. So, I was kind of at somewhat of a disadvantage taking photos with my phone. But, if you kind of think about it, phones are getting great these days. So, even if you take a photo with your phone, most likely it's going to be an okay photo. It's probably not going to be, in the Smithsonian for being the best photo ever, but it's going to be, a pretty decent photo. And what really helps with that is editing your photo, because a lot of people, even my wife does this and stuff like that, which I don't expect her to get into the editing part of it, but you'll take a photo and that's how you'll share it online. You'll just take it right off the camera roll on your phone, and you just post it to Facebook. doing a small bit of touching up in some of these photo editing programs would really help out a lot of these. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, because I was taking these photos today, and I was snapping away at a couple of them, and I have an iPhone 6, so it's a pretty good, it's pretty decent camera, better than a lot of point and shoots out there. And it was kind of fun being limited to that in a way, just because I couldn't do all the stuff that I really wanted to do. Like, I couldn't take really wide angle shots unless I took it with my GoPro. I couldn't take a lot of wide angle shots. I couldn't take a lot of telephoto shots because I don't want to zoom in on the phone, and I didn't want to get right up in people's faces, taking photos with my iPhone. So it was kind of fun being limited to that. But one other cool thing that I kind of was thinking about while I was walking around was, there's, unless I export the photo and bring it into Lightroom or Photoshop or something, I can't really do a whole lot of editing. There are a lot of editing programs out there, but they're not like I would normally do with a RAW photo or another JPEG photo or something like that was taken with a regular DSLR. So it was kind of fun knowing that I could do everything on the phone, and I kind of knew what to expect. I know it's not going to be great, but the editing programs will definitely help out. So that was kind of a fun, neat little experiment to do. Now, if you would ask me when we went out there, I would definitely like to have my camera back. But anyway, so it was kind of fun doing that. I kind of got a feel for what I was going to be able to get out of that. So what we basically did was we just walked around, took photos, went into a couple old buildings, and for this Project 52, I just snapped a photo of it's a loom. I believe that's what it's called, where they make rugs and stuff. The old timey machine. He was sitting there, and just the way it was framed, I kind of had a feeling it was going to be a good photo, and I really kind of liked how it turned out. It could have been better. It's kind of a grainy photo because it was dark in there, but if you do want to see that photo, head on over to PictureMonk.com/PMP005, and that'll give you like the show notes for this episode, and you can check that out. But it's been, this photography challenge has kind of been really cool. So that's one thing that was fun to do, knowing that I wouldn't be able to use my camera, but I had to use my phone to take these photos. So for editing your apps on your phone, there's a lot of really, really good photo editing apps out there, and I have a whole folder on my phone that has a bunch of editing apps. The one that I use a lot, there's actually two that I use more often than not, but the one I use a lot is Aviary. I believe that's how it's called. It's a brand new app that I downloaded. It's actually the company is owned by Adobe, and they have a lot of really cool stuff. They have a lot of stuff that allows you to change, regular stuff like color balance and shadows, highlights, that sort of thing, cropping, vignetting. But they also have fun little things that would appeal to less professionally minded people. They have stickers and you can add text and memes and stuff like that. So it's kind of a fun app for both people that are looking for advanced editing techniques and just want to have fun with their photos. The other one I use is Snapseed. And it's a really cool app. It's very popular. Google owns that one, or they bought out the company that owned that one. And it's a really, really neat photo editing app. It has a lot of features. I would say it handles some of the exposure parts better than Aviary does, but it's still great. It's still a great photo editing app to use if you don't want to use Aviary. Maybe you like the feel of Snapseed better. A lot of people actually use Snapseed. It's just a really good app, and I got it for when it was free, but I think you actually have to pay for it now. But even though I think it might be only $4.99 or $3.99 or something like that, but it's a really, really good app nevertheless. So I use those two apps to edit my photos, and that's basically, if you go to the PictureMonk.com/PMP005, the photo I was talking about with the guy at the loom, that was all done on phone, and so I think it turned out very well, just editing on the app. I have a whole lot more photos that I took, but that was sort of the best one, and that kind of leads you into kind of one small topic I wanted to bring up as well. It kind of goes along with, is it the camera or the person? That many photographers have heard that debate where, is it your skills that are making the photo great, or is it the camera taking the photo and making the photo great? I certainly believe that you need to have relatively good gear, but that being said, I should be able to make a great photo with my phone, which I think I did. So you do need good gear. You need relatively good gear, working gear. Like, my camera's not working right now, but you need working gear, and you need to know the basics of mainly composition. Really, I mean, if you're going to learn one thing when you're starting out, photography composition is the thing that can really make or break a photo. So one thing I would like to discuss with that is my dad actually turned me on to another photography podcast that I'd like to bring up. It's actually called Subject, Composition, and Light Podcast. It's from a guy, can't remember his name, Robin Churn or something like that. I can't really read his name off of here. But I'll put a link to his podcast in the show notes. Rob Nunn, I believe that's what it is. Rob Nunn. He has a really good podcast. I listened to it for the first time today. And if you're going to listen to another photography podcast, I would recommend that one. He kind of had this discussion on his podcast that I like to bring up, and he called it the cure for gas, which is gear acquisition syndrome. And he mentioned a bunch of photos that are really, really popular photos. So one of them he mentioned that I really kind of connected with was the Ali photo where he's standing over Joe Frazier. That's a massively iconic photo, and he named off that one. He named off the classic National Geographic, I think it's the National, I can't remember what, is it the Arab girl or something like that? A National Geographic cover with the girl and the turban over her head kind of thing, with the really bright green eyes or blue eyes just staring at the camera. That photo, it's a really iconic photo, and he named off a lot of others. But all the ones he named off were taken, way, 1960s, 1970s, when none of the stuff we have today is available. And they are the photos that are lasting. They are the lasting photos. You always see those photos, and those are the ones that hit home. Everybody knows those photos. When he was talking to him on the podcast, I knew those photos that he was talking about. Now, if you would have said, here's a photographer, blah, 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 and, I probably wouldn't have known that one, just because those are not as well known today as they were back then. So, and partially that has to do with the oversaturation of photography in today, because cameras, nice quality cameras are very available to pretty much anybody. So we're we're getting slammed with photos every day. So the fact that he brought up those and they stuck with me, and they were all taken back then, and they still are very popular today, makes a really good point that it's really not the camera that's doing anything. It's just the person taking the camera. It's the subject matter. It's the composition. It's the color. It's the lighting. It's all of that stuff, and that's what makes the photo great. So don't go buy gear. Don't go run out and buy the first thing that comes out. Obviously upgrade your camera if you grow out of your camera. But don't go grabbing the latest gear when you have a perfectly good camera sitting in front of you that will take great photos. Stick with the gear you got, love what you got, work with what you got. Just know your camera inside and out, and you're bound to get extremely, extremely good photos with your current gear. So with that being said, I think that's kind of what the main thing I wanted to talk about. Just it's fun to play around with new gear. It's fun to play around with new scenarios, new places, and everything. But just be comfortable with what you got, and that's kind of a good message to send across to everybody out there. So, all right. So now that I didn't do a news article section and being in this thing, I kind of wanted to throw out a new fun thing I might start doing at the end of a couple podcasts that I find. It's a PictureMonk pick of the week, and it's basically just any kind of cool thing that I find that I think will benefit everybody. It might be a majority of it might be products that I find that I really like. It could be free stuff, which most of my free stuff I hold off for Freebie Friday on PictureMonk, and that's just basically where I find something for free. Or a way to get something for free that might be helpful. So I usually put those on the website every Friday. And if you want to check out the ones that are out there so far, check out PictureMonk.com/free, and you can see the list of all the stuff that's being out there right now, and most of it should still be available. So for the pick of the week, I'm actually going to head you guys over to Amazon, and there is a new product, or not really a new product. I don't have one. Hopefully Santa will bring me a couple Amazon gift cards where I can snag one. But it's called the Newer Macro Ring LED Light, and you've probably seen these. They're very popular. A lot of portrait photographers mainly have them. It's called a macro ring light, but it's not just made for macro shots. So it's a really cool ring flash. If you've ever seen those portraits with if you see the close up of the eyes, and the eyes have that really cool ring light around the eyes, that's how they're taken, is with that ring flash. It's a really cool ring flash, and it's only $35 right now on Amazon, which is a really good deal. And if you have Prime, you get free shipping. So, and I have Prime, I have Amazon Prime. It's a really great service. But if you want to check that out, it's got really good ratings. I'm actually going to be getting one very soon, I think. Check it out. If you want to go there, go to PictureMonk.com/PMP005, and there'll be a link at the bottom for the PictureMonk pick of the week. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that photography podcast show. Sorry there wasn't like a normal flow of the show. I just kind of wanted to do a brain dump and just put everything out there, because it's just been kind of fun this week to just play it by ear, not have to worry about a structure for the show, just kind of talk. I had no notes this time, so that's might be why I'm rambling a little bit. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the show. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good week, and just start taking and making photos.